Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Behram Kazi from Grassroots Cricket reporting live from the National Bank Cricket Arena in Karachi. I've got cricket commentator and enthusiast Andrew Mclean from New Zealand here with me. Andrew, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, thanks. Absolutely loving this climate at the moment in Karachi this time of the year. Last time I was here, it was quite a bit warmer, but this is just absolutely beautiful. I saw the weather's going to get up to about 25 today, but even this morning around 7 a.m. it was about 17, so shorts and t-shirt is the order of the day.
Absolutely,
Mind
and
you,
yeah.
you're looking a bit smarter than me.
Well, thanks. I mean, it's quite cold in Islamabad and Lahore right now, so I'm actually glad that we're in Karachi ourselves right now. So, you've been to Pakistan 6 times this year, if I'm not wrong. How has your experience been, and has the country treated you well?
Well, how long have you got? Well, I guess the fact that I've been here so many times is a reflection on how I feel about the country and the people. It's just been wonderful, and I think, you know, because I'm, I guess, a freelance and I don't have a kind of a fixed agenda or anything like that, and I don't have anyone paying for my travel. I've done things a little bit differently to perhaps how other journalists and reporters might have done it, and so I've tended to stay at smaller guest houses, and like in Lahore, I stay at an Airbnb place, which I've just become friendly with the owner. And here in Karachi this time, I've gone for the same thing, and I'm staying with a family in kind of like a self-contained flat, not far from the ground. And so I think when you sort of start with that mentality, uh, you tend to have a bit more of a richer experience anyway. It's been a wonderful time, and I've really made so many friends. And what I never realised was how powerful Twitter is in this country.
Oh, yeah.
And so many people have contacted me, and from that I've made some very good friends here. So yeah, it's been great.
Yeah, well, we love having you here as well. And speaking of Twitter, you've interacted with a fair bit of Pakistan fans, and you've probably come across fans from all over the globe. So, how do Pakistan fans compare to them?
Well, I don't really know, because I don't know if there's a way you can do a geographical analysis of your followers, but I'm pretty sure. Well, put it this way: when I came to Pakistan in March, I had about 250 followers, and I hadn't used my account for 5 or 6 years, and it just went like that. And now I've got about 16 and a half. So I would say 99% of my followers are from Pakistan. You get the odd troll from India every now and again, but actually, probably edit that out. It's probably not. I'm trying to stay away from that subject, but yeah, I'd say most of my engagement, 99% of my engagements from people in Pakistan. And what I've found is that, first of all, they're very funny. Pakistanis are very, very funny people, and I just love the humour. And in that sense, I feel like they're kind of similar to, I don't know whether it's a British orientation or something, but they feel similar to British people, where I spent 13 years living. I don't think they don't mind taking the mickey out of themselves. That's what I really, really like. And the other thing is, there's no shortage of recommendations about what to do. But what I also find quite amusing is they'll say something to me like, "Oh, you must go to Hunza, or you must go to Skadu, or something like that, or Switzerland, Switzerland of the East, like Swat." And then I say, "Oh, have you got any pictures of when you went there?" They're like, "Oh no, I've never been there."
Yeah, well, the self-deprecating humor and the recommendations are definitely there. What about the food, Andrew? What have you tried in terms of Pakistani cuisine, and what do you like?
Well, I'm a huge, huge fan of meat. And this is like meat heaven in this country. There's so many great kebabs and things like this. But I tend to try a bit of everything. Of course, there's a whole debate about who has the best biryani, and obviously it's Karachi. I don't want to upset anyone. I try a bit of everything, but I tend to order quite a bit of food off Food Panda, so shout out to Food Panda. But they have some quite nice kebabs and rolls. But my thing I like most find that if it's done well, is I love chapli kebab.
Yeah, well, you should definitely visit Peshawar then someday.
Well, no, even in Rawalpindi, we found a Peshawari guy who was cooking them, and they were really good.
Yeah, well, that's wonderful. Okay, let's talk a bit about the cricket now. Babar Azam is a captain who is under fire, and Pakistan have lost 4 Test matches on the bounce at home for the first time in their history. What do you think has gone wrong for the home team, and what can they do to improve?
Well, let me first say, it's just so easy to blame the captain when a team loses, But I think people, I don't know how many teams you've captained in your lifetime, but I've captained a few, and okay, it's not the same level, and it doesn't come with the same amount of pressure. But when your bowlers can't take wickets, and your batsmen are falling over, I mean, there's not that much you can do about it. And yeah, I know that Ben Stokes, for example, had a lot of plaudits for the way that he engineered results out here, and that's fair enough. But you've got to remember, the guy's full of confidence. His team is just on a roll, whereas Pakistan has the opposite situation. And it's like someone tweeted today, how many wickets do New Zealand need before lunch to give themselves a chance of victory? And I said, well, there's only one. They just need to get Babar out. And I know that's probably disrespectful to the rest of the side, but I kind of feel that that's how it is at the moment. I mean, even if you look back to March with the Australian Test here in Karachi, when Babar made that amazing 190 to salvage a draw. But the other thing too, which I find a little bit bizarre, is that someone will say online, Pakistan bowlers have only got 14 Test matches or however many between them, and there's just 4 of them. Remember, only 4 bowlers in this match.
Right.
And then everyone will lay into them and say, well, that's no excuse. Inexperience is not an excuse, but it is an excuse. I mean, look at the pace bowler who's taken wickets in this match. It's Tim Southee.
Yeah.
Well, he's got 350 Test wickets. He's vastly experienced. Jimmy Anderson, when he came out here, look how well he did. So I think Pakistan's suffering from inexperience. I mean, even if you look at the T20 side this year, they actually struggled. I know they did quite well to only lose a series 4-3 against England, and they did well at the World Cup. But that middle order was a constant discussion point, all throughout the year. So, it's hard to pinpoint anything specific. I mean, I'm not seeing like technical deficiencies or anything like that some players lose their place in a team because they're technically not up to it at Test level. Like maybe they have a problem with a short ball, or they don't know where the off stump is. I'm not seeing that. But we must remember one thing. Pakistan did themselves no favours on day one of this match. They won the toss, they batted, they got exactly the result they wanted. 2 guys get stumped in the first hour or so. I mean, how ridiculous is that?
That is quite ridiculous. You alluded to Pakistan's bowlers, and do you think perhaps the management missed the trick by handing out too many debuts to fast bowlers as opposed to maybe going for some experience in guys like Hassan Ali and Mohammad Abbas?
Well, look, you're a hell of a lot closer to the ability of those guys than me. I mean, if you look at Mir Hamza, he's actually got a really amazing record. But I don't know much about him, to be honest. But where I think they went badly wrong was not selecting more bowlers. I mean, to put 60 overs on both the spinners is just too much. But yeah, experience counts for a lot. Like I just think that when you lose a guy like Shaheen Shah Afridi, first of all, you've got to think about replacing that experience. But I suppose the main thing is your other obligation as a selector is to pick players who are informed. Because the public will crucify you if you don't pick informed players. So, yeah, they probably have missed a trick, but I think that this is, this is a problem that Pakistan has at the moment is that they just don't have enough experience or recent experience at Test level.
Fair enough.
And they've struggled all year to both sides out in Test cricket.
They have. So let's talk about the game at large, this one. It's in stark contrast to the series prior, where England were playing a very aggressive style of cricket. We've seen some attritional cricket in this test match. New Zealand have also gone about their business not as aggressively and have taken their time. So how do you see that approach as opposed to baseball? And do you think that teams really need to change the way they play, or is this fine?
Well, the first thing is we've got to drop that term.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't even like it himself. It's a throwaway line, and unfortunately it's got too much traction now. But effectively what it is, it's a very aggressive brand of cricket, a more like a high-octane form of cricket. And, I thought it was interesting what the former chairman, Ramesh Raja, said about maybe said to Babar, maybe you should consider putting some sort of more T20 players into the side, perhaps someone like Shadab or someone like that. But then again, as we know, Baba doesn't get any say in selection anymore. After that little drama we heard about yesterday. But look, I think you've got to think about it in a different way. We've had 5 days of perfect weather in Karachi. We haven't had shortened sessions. We haven't had 12. So from a New Zealand perspective, why not use the full 5 days and entertain the 27 fans that are here? So I think New Zealand's played it pretty perfectly, actually. If they wanted to have been really aggressive, they could have declared behind, but they didn't need to. And I suppose they just thought, well, let's see what happens. This was yesterday morning, and then this showed he batted an absolute blinder. So they thought, oh, well, we might as well push on. And then it just worked out ideally, They got to declare exactly when Williamson got to 200.
Yep.
They had a whole session left at, against the Pakistan opening batsman. And really, I mean, you couldn't really ask for a more complete performance in pretty trying conditions. So, if you're in England, for example, you can pretty much be sure it's going to rain at some point. And it will affect the amount of time you've got in the game. Also happens in a place like New Zealand, particularly at this time of the year. Not that we're playing tests at the moment, but in New Zealand, if you're playing in November or December, you'd probably have to think about climactic conditions as well.
You do, yeah.
As opposed to February, which is really good. So I don't really see the need for a comparison, actually. And the other thing, too, is, again, England is on a roll, right? They've won, 9 out of 10 test matches this year.
Yep.
And their players are in form, the players are full of confidence. New Zealand's had no preparation for this whatsoever. Back home in New Zealand, they've come from playing a 2020 domestic competition. So it takes time. And, I just don't think you're ever going to see either Pakistan go out and try and slog it on day one, although, as I say, I'm not sure what those two, Shah and Abdullah Shafiq were up to, but and I think the captains have to be very careful, to be able to go down the avenue of, or should I say the road, everyone keeps calling this a road or a highway, but to go down with the approach of saying, right, we're going to score 450 today, that's not easy. Come on.
Yeah, absolutely not. And Kane Williamson, we spoke about him. He gave up New Zealand's Test captaincy before this tour, and he hadn't scored a 50 up until this game. The last time he got there was the 2021 World Test Championship final. So do you think giving up the captaincy has relieved him of that pressure, and now he can focus on being New Zealand's best batter in history?
Well, I guess I like him. I like it until what's happened with Joe Root. I mean, the difference with Joe Root is it makes no difference whether he's captaining. I mean, it was unbelievable in a year that England were losing every game under the sun. But it's basically one, very like-for-like situation. both roughly around the same age. I think they're both about 31 or 32.
Yeah.
They've got 3 or 4 good years ahead of them. They've had the captaincy for a while. It is a burden. Joe Root said himself, it's a 24-hour job.
Yeah.
Probably in England more so than in New Zealand, but Kane's had a good shift. Yeah, let him focus on being a really good batsman. And, I mean, he's a phenomenal batsman.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
got 25 Test hundreds. I mean,
5 doubles.
it's really, really remarkable. If you think of a guy like Martin Crowe, he's only scored, he's only scored 1 double hundred.
Mm-hmm.
1 double hundred. And then he's probably our best batsman of all time, relative to the era he played in and stuff like that. And,
Wasim Akram has a lot of praise for Martin Crowe. He says that he negated his reverse swing really, really well.
Well, and also with a really simple technique. He said he just played for the in-swinger.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just so simple, And you can imagine these days you have like head coaches and and analysts and everyone saying this and that, and the Crows. I just played for the in-swinger. If it went in the other way, I never going to hit it.
Yeah.
But no, I think it's a very laboured way of answering your question. I think that Williamson is high class.
Oh yeah.
And, he is one of the most prized wickets in world cricket, and I mean, you were watching the game, you probably even had a better angle than I did. But the way that he was just taking the ball from outside the stump and manipulating that leg side field, that's some seriously good quality batting. And obviously, if New Zealand wins, he'll be man of the match. Even if they don't win, he'll be man of the match. And he's been head and shoulders above any other player in this match, even though we've had Babar making 100 and also Salman making 100 and Latham making 100. Because Williamson, he had a missed stumping chance against him, but other than that, it was a flawless knock.
Yeah, it was really, really good to watch. And I mean, Kane is such a good bloke as well. Takes a special liking towards Pakistan, has scored 5 Test hundreds versus them. And just quickly, there's been a massive shake-up in the PCB. Ramiz is gone as the chairman, Najim Sethi is back, Shahid Khan Afridi is the new chief selector, and Pakistan cricket all of a sudden seems very, very volatile. Any thoughts on all of that?
Well, I mean, for a lot of this match, it's been very attritional cricket on the field, but kind of baseball off the field. I mean, it's just I didn't go on to Rami speak because I'm sure he did it all in Urdu, but it's been an absolute feast for you local journalists. I mean, Ramiz has just given out so many one-liners that he's almost done it exactly for tweeting purposes. But look, it's not something I really want to discuss. I don't know much about it. One thing I do know is that particularly from a broadcasting perspective, Ramiz essentially had the final say on who could do broadcasting and stuff like that. And I don't think that should be the chairman's job. So I hope that changes under the new chairmanship.
Okay, fair enough. So, just on a final note, the game is not particularly at a knife's edge right now. New Zealand requires 6 wickets. Pakistan lead by 7 runs, and both Imamul Haq and Sarfaraz are looking good at the crease at lunch. Do you think Pakistan can save this Test match?
It's possible, but the thing that worries me from a Pakistan perspective is how much turn Shodhi's getting. He's had a couple of shouts for LBW now, which have missed the leg stump by a mile. So when the ball's spinning into the left-hander, to bat against the ball that's turning that much for another 4 hours. It's slightly less because of the Friday prayers, but I think it's going to be a hard job actually. And if you had to look at the win predictor versus the draw, I think it's probably more like New Zealand 65% to win, draw 35%.
All right. Sarfaraz Ahmed has had a bittersweet Test match. He scored runs, but he's given away a lot of opportunities to New Zealand batters. How would you rate his comeback?
Next.
Do you think he has a future?
Well, look, I'm a huge fan of the other guy, so I'd prefer to see Rizwan in the team. But when you're down on confidence with your batsman, he's done a job for his team here. Okay, and so that actually helps him a lot. their hopes on a real one, and so I suspect they'll stick with him. I don't really see the point of changing mid-series. You can have a couple of bad days too.
Yeah.
There's nerves and other things to factor in. And there's no guarantee Rizwan would have caught those chances down the leg side and stuff like that. So, yeah, as much as I'd like to see Rizwan play because I just like his style, I wouldn't be looking to make a change. And the only thing I would say is I was surprised he was dropped in the first place.
Yeah. But quite a controversial call over there.
Sure, one more thing to say about that. I've seen on Twitter so many people commenting on the fact that Rizwan congratulated Zafraz on a good innings.
Mm-hmm.
But he's his teammate.
Yeah.
I mean, you should be doing that. I don't think he purposely stood out on the balcony to get the attention of the whole country. I don't believe that for a second.
I mean, this team is very well gelled together and they all support each other. But anyway, I think we should head back inside. Thank you so much for your time, Andrew. It was an absolute pleasure talking cricket with you. And I hope you enjoyed the test match and have a wonderful remainder of the trip in Pakistan.
Thank you so much.
All right, cheers. And thank you, viewers, for tuning in. For similar content, stay tuned. Brought to you by Grassroots Cricket.